Spin to win, grind the gear, or is it a little bit of both? Little thought goes into your cadence. Just like breathing, it is a subconscious passive motion, but could being more deliberate and training your cadence lead you to becoming a better rider? Let's take a look. In its simplest form, cadence is how fast you pedal. It is measured in RPM or revolutions per minute. Historically, lower cadences were used. This is mainly due to equipment available. Riders would have very low gears, so there wasn't an option but to use low cadence. These days, with the compact and semi-compact chainrings, as well as the humongous cassettes on the back, it is not rare to see people racing up 10% climbs at a cadence above 100. It is generally accepted that a good cadence is anywhere between 80 and 100 RPM. And as a rule, social cyclists pedal slower, anywhere between 60 and 80 RPM, and more experienced and racing cyclists tend to favor the higher cadence. But why is that? Spinning and grinding have different impacts on the body. If you're a spinner, then you're relying on your cardiovascular endurance as more work is put on the cardio system and less on the muscles. Grinding, on the other hand, does the exact opposite and works the muscular system but eases the cardio system. The infamous Lance Armstrong is often credited as the rider that brought spinning into popularity. Since then, Chris Froome is the other big name rider which favors this pedaling technique. His cadence rose above 14% throughout his time as a pro cyclist. Why is this? Well, the higher the cadence, the less strain on your muscles exert with each pedal stroke. Spinning in a lower gear engages your slow twitch muscles, which are a lot more effective for longer and more prolonged efforts in the saddle, such as the mountains of the Tour de France. These muscles are more resistant to fatigue than fast twitch muscles and are able to recover quickly when allowed to rest. A higher cadence also increases the amount of blood flow to your muscles, which in turn means more oxygen is coursing through your body, increasing your aerobic performance. Easy, right? Pedal faster and you'll go faster. Not exactly. There are studies published in the International Journal of Sports Medicine, which implies amateurs don't get any added benefit to high cadence cycling. Instead, it just tires them out. This is because as the cadence increases and they shift the load onto their cardiovascular system, their heart rate is significantly increased. At 90 RPM, the test subjects' heart rate had increased so much that the efficiency decreased, as did their muscle oxygenation. They were unable to keep up with their oxygen consumption. So, should amateurs favor lower cadences? Kind of. Low cadence riding taxes your skeletal muscles, especially the quads. Since you're using a bigger gear, you have to apply a lot more force to turn it, which often causes that feeling that we cyclists call heavy legs. However, if your legs are very big and powerful, this may work well for you. The latest craze in cycling training is torque training, which revolves around low cadence work. Although the scientific literature doesn't necessarily back up the reasoning, there is little to no doubt that torque work has an untold amount of benefits. John Wakefield is one of the most respected cycling coaches in the world, formerly working with UAE Team Emirates and helping Tadej Pogačar to the Tour de France victory. He now works with Bora Hansgrohe. He is also one of the biggest advocates of torque training in the sport. A recent study showed that cadence training doesn't improve cycling performance, something Wakefield ridiculed. He outlined, the outcome of low cadence work is not to improve VO2 max or ATT performance. You are creating neuromuscular pathways. To say it is not effective in improvement in VO2 is correct, but you cannot say that the work is not effective. They have an important place in training. Should an athlete improve the amount of torque they're able to produce at the same cadence, they should by definition then improve the power they're able to produce at a higher cadence while having a greater consistency. Personally, I came from a track background, so I was more of a spin to win kind of rider. And as I got onto the road, we focused more on rolling the bigger gears, where the pressure was on and then lightening it up when it was easy. I think it's easy to fall into a trap of riding the same gear all day long after all. Overall, I was pretty normal as pro riders go, with an average cadence around high 80s to low 90s. So to conclude, there is no right answer for how fast you should pedal. As an amateur rider, having an average cadence above 75, probably even 80 will largely be beneficial for you. But having an average cadence above 90 could be counterproductive. Being efficient across all cadences and all powers is the best thing you can aim to do. This way you can choose based on your terrain and switch pedaling techniques depending on your fatigue levels. What is your average cadence?